Then windows, it is maybe in the 50s right now. So we're actually having nice-ish weather compared to what it's been here lately. But today we're going to talk about severe weather. And I have my whiteboard for reference because sometimes I go off talking about different things and I don't remember exactly what needs to be said. But today, I think I'm going to start using this more often, you guys. So if I keep like looking, it's because I have my notes here. And so it's going to be a couple different topics that I was thinking of, but I think I'll wait for this one and we can talk about this one since there is severe weather going on around right now. So this morning, I check the weather app quite often. And this morning in Texas, where Cora is at, not the whole Texas, but in Texas where Cora is at, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it was 14 degrees, you guys. It was 14 degrees. Then I checked in New York where my sister and her family is at. It was 26 degrees. And then this morning here where I'm at in California, it was 48 degrees. So it was actually pretty warm comparing to what it's been. It has been like in the high 20s here. And yeah. But they have snow and we have wind, but the sun is shining, so I'm grateful for that. We're supposed to have like 50s, 60s in the highs, but it seems like all around the world right now, whoa, the camera's kind of funky. It's like snowing, extreme weather, and I don't know, it seems like every year, whether it's global warming or not, I have no idea. But I just wanted to talk about a few things of how to survive in severe weather. And now, this is coming from somebody that's lived most of the time in warmer, nicer climates. So what do I know, right? It's just my opinion. So anyway, as you come in, give it a thumbs up, say hi, see who's on here. But what I have found is just layers, appropriate gear. That's what I have found, you guys, appropriate gear. And for me, it has just been sleeping bags and layering up. It's pretty simple, pretty simple. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Then I have the topic of shelter, drafts, and windbreak. Well, if you're out in the open, it's gonna be bad unless you're dressed appropriately. Personally, what I did was just a sleeping bag system and then have jackets and then a beanie cap. And I've already made I already made a video about what I did. But the thing is, the trolls, you guys, the trolls, my gosh. They had some nasty comments, which I've already deleted, but oh my God. This is wow, what a surprise. This layer up and use a sleeping bag. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I did. Now with the trolls on here, the negative Nancy's, expect me to give them a magic pill, a magic formula. I don't know what. In the video I posted how I survived, what I did. I'm pretty sure something to that effect was the title, not what you should do. Good morning, Erica. Good morning. Oh, it's 50 degrees. I think we're about that right now here, but just with the wind. So you can see like the sun shining. But it's a nicer day weather in California versus like Texas and New York where my sister and Cora Yeah, it's cold and it's snowing. So I think this is like reflecting somehow and it's making the camera get all crazy. But yeah, back to the trolls. They expect me to give them the magic answer, what to do, like the top 5 things, top 10 things. And normally I don't have those kind of videos. I'm more like what I did. And most of the time what I do is like simple, to the point, basic, kiss method. And people find that um, boring, like blah, to the point, which I understand. But it's like basic. That's the way my brain thinks. It's more like, okay, what do I need to do? What needs to get done? What's the quickest, easiest, best way that I can make it happen right now? And then that's what I do. That's it. That's all that I do. I don't try to go extra. I don't try to do a lot of things. Now in my mind, I kind of go back and forth of like, well, what if I do this? Well, what if I do that? What if I do this? And in the long run, what works best is just keeping it simple. Keeping it simple, at least for me. I think for most people, it's the best way, the easiest way, the less stressful way. It just, that's what I've come to find out. Uh, that's just what works. I did not have a heater last year when I was in the extreme cold. Of course, I didn't go into too much detail of like the specifics because I got comments talking about, well, why didn't you drive to warmer weather? Why didn't you have a buddy heater? Why don't you do XYZ? Well, at the time, I didn't have the extra funds to be spending on certain things. I came from a warm climate to a freezing climate, and that's kind of the opposite. I did the opposite of what the nomads do, but there was a purpose to my madness, and that was to get cheaper housing because I had a roommate, and AKA my mama. So I did not want to be living in the van with my mom or with anybody for that matter. It's too tight of a quarters. For one person, it's fine. A car was too small for me. Kudos to those of you that do it. I can't. That was hard. I think I like more comfort and more gadgets and more things. Yeah. So this time around, I have um kind of like an agreement with myself, and Corey and I talk about it, and we kind of talk where we kind of have an agreement where we believe that a minivan and up is like the minimum vehicle that we will ever have because of situations where even just to camp out of it, it's more comfortable to be in a van, to be able to sit up and like have a little bit of room and space. And I know I'm in the chair, so obviously I'm going to have space, but like in my bed system, I want to be able to sit up, even if my hair is like touching. I want to be able to sit up and not have to go like that. And that's what I had to do in the Prius. And besides the small amount of room that I had in the Prius, like that's the only thing that bothered me. It was too small for me. But everything else was awesome about the Prius. But yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert. Obviously, I don't even do research before talking to you guys and giving you guys my opinion. That's how bad it is. I just talk of my experience, what I would do, what I have done, etc. But trolls are some kind of special. I used to be upset about it. I used to like text Cora and be like, "Oh my God, look what they said. Oh my God, look what they did." Now I have a little bit of a thicker skin because I've been doing YouTube for a little while. And most of the comments are very nice, very helpful, but every once in a while you get the trolls, the, let's just call them dumbasses, the dumbasses that have nothing better to do. And apparently I didn't give them the right answer. So they leave nasty comments talking about how dumb my video is, or how useless the video is. Like, it's obvious that's what you need to do. Like, duh. Okay, well, nobody's forcing you to watch. Nobody forcing you to comment. Yet you still are. Okay. Now I'm just gonna comment, bless your heart. Thanks for the watch hours and the comment. I have to get thicker skin if I'm gonna be doing YouTube, and I want to go big or go home, right? So I want to do YouTube, and I want to end up making it where it makes me money to actually be able to be on the road and just make videos like some of the bigger YouTubers. So that's a goal of mine, and little by little I'm getting it, little by little. But yeah, you guys, like, I had a comment that mentioned there's negative 40-degree sleeping bags. I don't know how true that is or not, but if it is, that's awesome. Negative 40-degree sleeping bag. Do you guys know anything about that? Good morning, Ileana. Good morning. So yeah, today's topic is severe weather. I don't know if it's backwards or not, but anyhow. Severe weather. What's the weather where you're at? Erica put it's 50 degrees there. Here it's about the same. I can't check because I'm on live right now. But this morning was pretty chilly in a lot of parts of the world. It's snowing. Oh my goodness. I bet it is. I bet it is. Because even the Dallas-Fort Worth area where Cora's at had snow, and it was down to 14 degrees this morning. I had to write it down because I can't go on my phone and look. And then I won't remember. I'll twist numbers. And my sister has had like snow for weeks. Snow on and off for weeks. And hers was 26 degrees. But surprisingly here, it's been really nice. Like, the wind is blowing like crazy. All the dirt, the dust is going everywhere. I don't know if you're able to see that. It's kind of hard to see. Let me turn the camera around and show you if y'all can see that. The wind is blowing. Kathleen, oh my gosh, Kathleen, -8 right now. Wow. Wow, my gosh. Now that is cold. Woo, where are you at, Kathleen? Wow, that is cold. Woo. Jesus. All right, let's see what Erica put. Trails know they're full of it. They just pretend to be upset. A lot of them do, right? A lot of them really have seen comments where they mention back and forth where they put those kind of comments just to start something in the comment section or to aggravate people, and then they just go on random channels and then they put nasty comments just to rile up the comment people or the YouTuber or something. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, but it's all an act. They just enjoy harassing for entertainment. Yeah, you're right. A lot of them do. And a lot of them are actually just dumb. A lot of them are dumb. They have no other entertainment but to bug people. The Karens and Kevins. And yeah. Let's see, Kathleen in South Dakota. Ooh, you call it winter. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Jesus. That is cold. That is cold. All right, y'all. I already had my coffee, so I'm having water. My mom ended up buying these teeny little bottles of water. She thought it was the taller ones, but we ended up with it being stacked. The case was stacked like this, and she thought it was a tall water bottle, but it was these tiny little babies, and they're so cute, but my gosh, it's so wasteful. It's so wasteful. She likes water bottles. I prefer to have the gallon jugs and just refill them. I'm like, I'm thirsty and I need something for the van, so cheers with water. Uh, so yeah, that's just, it is what it is. Now I get to thinking, like, off my list here, I'm like, well, I didn't use a heater. Somebody even said, well, if you're in a van or you're in a vehicle, like, why don't you just start the car and heat it up? Or why don't you put a buddy heater? Or why don't you can you put some candles? Is I'm like, all that stuff is like, I'm not going to be running my vehicle, first of all, for any length of time, because I find it wasteful. Maybe I can see maybe how some of them will run it for like 5, 10, 15 minutes before they're going to go to bed, so the whole area is like warm and maybe it feels nice and you go to sleep faster instead of feeling like, oh my God, it's freezing cold. And then once you finally start to get warm and comfortable, then you can go to sleep and maybe you go to sleep faster. So maybe I should have done that, but I didn't. Also, like, I don't really have room. I don't know how some people do it, but like in a minivan, in a car, to put like a buddy heater, I think a lot of those want you to even have what are they, like 3 foot distance to anything. I don't have that luxury. I don't know how some people do it. They even put candles, they put some kind of clay pot, they put different things around it. I'm like, I don't want an open flame in here while I sleep. What if I knock it over and my whole house burns down? Then what am I gonna do? I can't do that. So there's a lot of things that you could do, but I chose not to do because I would be more paranoid doing that than, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but the buddy heater is like borderline for me. Candles for sure are a no-go for me. Not in this small of a space and not while I'm trying to sleep. Let me see. These are 8 ounces. If y'all can, there we go. 8 ounces. They're teeny tiny. An actual cup, right? 6 to 8 ounces, something like that for a cup. I'm just trying to sip it because I would drink all this like in like 2-3 gulps. Gulp, gulp, and it's gone. But now I wonder, okay, my gosh, I am so grateful that I am not living in primitive times. What I picture in my head, like the caveman times, because what the heck did they do to stay warm? How you see in shows and movies, cartoons, they're in a cave. Maybe. I'm sure they built some kind of shelter. Skinned animals would wear animal skin. I don't know. I have no idea. We can speculate a lot, right? There's some stuff that you can kind of see how they lived, but I try to picture like what I would have died. I would have died in the ice age, right? Oh my God, I would have died. Am I living in the van or in the RV or taking trips? Right now I am living in the RV, which is like right here next to me. I'm parked next to the RV. So that right there, that RV right there is where I'm living at. And I come and do videos here because a lot of times it's too noisy in the RV. We'll have the TV going and then us kind of shuffling back and forth and eating or moving around or whatever. It's too noisy, too distracting. So I just come to the van and make the videos just because it's more quiet and I can like concentrate and talk to you guys. That's why I come to the van. Let's see. And about taking trips, right now I'm not really taking any trips. I'm just trying to save my money, pay off some things, save my money, and basically save for the road trip for when Cora gives birth to the baby, because just gas alone costs you a bunch to go back and forth. I think it's about 18-ish hours from here to get to Cora. 18, 19-hour drive. So as many times as I gotta fill up and eat and stop, and yeah, it adds up. It adds up quick. So I'm not really taking any trips right now. I feel like I need to sneeze though. Whew. I cracked the back window, so all that dust is coming in here too. But maybe I should put them up because I'm like, whoo, and take my jacket off. I might do that, you guys. And there we go. Just take my jacket off so I'm not constantly sneezing in here. All right, let's see. But yeah, I'm just like trying to save my gas money, my road trip money for here in a few months. I know I'm going to be taking a road trip back to Texas, and I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay there. So yeah. And if the weather happens to be hot and humid and gross, I don't typically like to stay in the van. I'll get a hotel room. So I got to save for the gas, for food, and a hotel room. Let's see. Miss Kathleen, wear double socks and a hat while under the layers. You know what I find? I find it more cold on my feet and my hands if I wear like gloves and socks and everything while I'm trying to sleep. I find it easier to warm up my body if I don't have anything on my skin really. So I just tend to sleep, like, for example, with a long sleeve like this and undies, and then I go inside a sleeping bag and cover up to like right here. And then I just put I don't have it here, but my beanie cap, I'll cover myself up to about my nose right here. So this part right here stays really warm. The top of my head has to be warm for me to be comfortable. My nose gets freezing cold, so I cover it down to here. And then it also helps that it kind of makes it darker, so I'll sleep better through the night. And then just basically like from here to here is not covered. And then that works for me. Like I just stick everything inside the sleeping bag and cover up, and then I get toasty really fast. But I can't do maybe I need loose gloves, looser socks, because it feels like it just, I don't know. It just makes my feet cold. I wear them throughout the day though, but when I'm sleeping, it just doesn't seem to warm up. And throughout the day, if it's really cold, my feet are, with socks, with shoes, with all that, I still get really cold. So I have no idea. Maybe it's just my weird body. Let's see, I saw a video where this guy had a tiny wood burning stove attached to the wall of their van. I've seen videos like that. And I think they're full-size van. I'm not sure if they're in minivans. So they might have a little bit more room. I'm not sure if it was a minivan or if it was a full-size. But I've seen some of those, the one that you're talking about. But I've seen some of those where they do have full-size vans, and they might be like the extra long ones to have all that room. But I don't know. It's like, I'd be kind of scared. Maybe because I don't know how to use them. So for safety, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. And what I've come to find out is a lot of those tiny little wood stoves, you have to constantly feed it because you can only hold like teeny tiny little pieces of wood, so they burn fast. Do I really want to wake up or like put more wood every couple hours? I don't want to do that. I don't personally. That's another reason. Like at first I thought, like, I think it's a Kelly stove. There's one, there's like a mini cubic, mini bears. I can't remember what some of those are called. And they look so cute. I'm like, oh my God, I want one. But the more I watch the videos and the more they talk about their system and like the other videos that I watch with stuff like that, I couldn't do it. I don't want to wake up every couple hours, every 1, 2, 3 hours and like have to put more in there. Maybe they do it kind of like when you start the car. It's just warm up right before you actually go to bed, and then you just suffer through it until you actually get up in the morning. and then you start your vehicle again and warm it up, or you start the wood stove again in the morning. I don't know, but I don't want to bother with that. That's too much for me. I like to do less, but I like those little bitty stoves. They're so cute. Let me see. I'm gonna call you Sarah, Miss Full Roller Sarah. Hi, first time here. Well, hello and welcome, and thank you for being here. Yeah, so like what I just find easier to do is just layer up and have a good sleeping bag, put more blankets in there, and just have this part warm, because I've had it to where my body is inside the sleeping bag and I have nothing up here and it's freezing, and my head will just, it's like it doesn't hurt, but it's like a cold hurt, like your hands being too cold, how that feeling is. It just feels like that up here. So I make sure to cover my head at least, and then my nose, and then just bundle up. Like that's like the best thing that I've ever found. And it's the simplest, but if you have the room and you have the system, I know like the diesel heaters and the Mr. Buddy heaters, or Mr. heaters, I don't know what they're called. There's all kinds of ways to do it, but like in this small of a space, I get kind of leery about that. Plus, I don't want to spend the extra money. Maybe that's what it is too. I don't want to spend the extra money and the extra time and effort and being careful, and like I just got to keep it simple. Let's see, are you referring to the Dickinson stove? Yeah, that's another one, right? That one's I think it's propane. Some of them are the wood burning ones. The one that I was talking about, you actually put like little pieces of wood or something like that in there. But I have seen that. I have seen the Dickinson stove, and I think that one, they might have it where you can do multiple different kind of fuels in there. But mostly I've seen those for like gas. They might have where you can actually do like a wood burning. But I mean, that would be an option too. Um, I don't know. That would be an option. But yeah, I just go back to thinking like, okay, well, if I lived way back in the Ice Age times, what would I have done? Obviously, shelter. Shelter is very important. The appropriate gear is very important. Um, I'll have to figure out some kind of way to like warm up my feet and my hands better than I do, because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I get like clammy. Instead of warming up, I get like sweaty. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Like with my feet, for example, if I have socks and I have boots, I get more like clammy. Is that weird? Am I supposed to, what am I doing wrong? Am I supposed to put powder? I have no idea. Hi, Dora. So, yeah. And then instead of having a heater, which I have the tiniest little heater now, it's about 200 watts, and I have yet to plug it into my battery to kind of test that system out. But I'm like, I have that. I can probably run it through the night for a bit, and that would be like at least keep the above freezing right in here. But I'm like, well, I mean, if you heat yourself up some tea or just plain hot water, sip on that, you get warmed up, your body gets warmed up. You can have coffee, you can have tea, or just plain hot water. That would work. I know some people put them in like the Nalgene bottles. They'll heat up water, they'll pour the hot water in the Nalgene bottles, and that's kind of like one of the warmers for you. You put it inside your sleeping bag, and I have never tried that, but that would have been something that I could have done. That's more primitive, right? It's just basically heat up water, put it in a bottle, and you're good to go. That's your warmer, foot warmer, hand warmer. That's what I probably should have done. And then my mind goes like, ooh, what if it leaks? Oh my God. Ooh, no, I'm gonna have like wet, icy stuff everywhere. Always like, oh my God, what if, ah. But that is one thing that I would like to try. And then I'm like, well, geez, what if my water is frozen? How am I gonna drink from that? What about cooking? If my butane is too cold, how am I gonna cook? But of course, it's not that drastic. But it's just stuff that pops in my head, and I kind of wrote it. I wrote it down. I'm like, I have never been in an area where it's so isolated, so desolate that I can't just drive up to a Panera and warm up, drive up to Walmart and warm. I'm usually in places where it's smaller to big size cities, so like I'm fine. But I just get to thinking like all this like uh, in South Dakota. If I was camping in South Dakota, oh my God, that would be severe, extremely severe weather like that. I would have to definitely move. Let's see, Miss Full Roller Sarah. That's what I do in my home. Bundle up. I only heat enough to keep the pipes from bursting. It's much easier to trap your body heat. I sweat too. I just take the socks off and on. Huh, okay. Yeah, because I find it like my feet stay cold with the socks inside my sleeping bag system. But if I take that off, it's still cold. But then I start touching like my own feet, or like I I don't know what you call it. I I put my legs more like more of a fetal position and like touch my own body, and it heats up a lot faster. I don't know. And then if I get too hot, I'll like stretch out or unzip and all that. No, Cora has not found out just yet. The ultrasounds that Cora has had, the baby is usually turned around and all you see is like the backside. So not yet. It wants to be a surprise, I guess, until the baby comes out. But we're thinking maybe it's going to be a boy. I don't know. I don't know. It would be nice. Either girl or boy would be nice. Like I have no issues. I Of course I have a preference where I want a little girl, but I think they're looking more towards it being a boy, but only God knows right now. Well, we haven't found out yet. But thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Hot flashes are also helping me keep warm. Well, I mean, that's good, right? That's good. That's looking at the optimistic way, right? Hot flashes. Yeah. That is so true. And now that I'm feeling the warmth right here, talking about hot flashes, right? I'm feeling the warmth here. So another nice thing that as long as the sun is hitting like all these windows, it becomes like a sunroom in here and it traps heat. So maybe that's why I didn't feel it as cold. Obviously in here because it is a windbreak. You know, all the windows closed, all my doors closed. There was nothing cracked. I didn't have to crack my windows because I didn't have any kind of like a propane butane heat source going in here. So it was always just completely enclosed, so that trapped the heat in here too. But when I would step outside, oh my God, the wind would blow. It would be so cold, and I would try to rush without like slipping and falling on the sheet of ice sometimes, or the snow. But for the most part, it was just a lot of cold wind, and it was a little bit of ice and snow from time to time. But yeah, I would just go from the van inside to like Panera, from the van to Planet Fitness, from the van to Walmart, or from the van to wherever we were happy to be. Like I didn't stay out very much. Let's see. New to pair. Coffee helps feel warm inside, doesn't it? Yes. Plus the caffeine will like it'll kick in. So in the evening, a good thing to do is to sip on at least some hot water. But I actually want to try the what I see like the Nalgene bottles, and they pour that hot liquid in there, and then they like cuddle to it. That's what I would have done if I knew about it back then. Let's see. Acrylic socks are my first layer. Oh, okay. And socks with wool as the next layer, and the third layer of, oh wow. Wow. See, you got that system down. Different material, different layers. Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Hmm. Um, oh, Dora, more good news for Dia's Coffee Club. Ooh. What's the juicy news? Let's see. Yeah, you're getting the greenhouse effect in your car. It's great in winter. Yes, yes. Like I come into the van on cold days because in the RV we covered the front windshield with like a, I don't know what you call it, some kind of fabric. I purchased that because it gets really hot, and when we first moved here, it was warmer. It would get into like the 90s still here. And so I purchased that so it could be cooler in there. But then the same thing, now that it's winter, it gets really cold in there. It stays cold in there. So I come into the van and then I warm up. And I have like two layers, a long sleeve shirt, and then two layers of jackets, plus my hat. And then like once I come in here, 5 minutes later, I'm taking a bunch of stuff off because it's like it's warm in here. It's so warm. So I come in here to warm up for sure. Oops. Well, yeah, you guys, I just like, I didn't think Texas was going to have this cold of a climate, but I think a year or two back, I can't remember, they had like extreme cold, a big old ice storm, snowstorm, and it was really bad. I'm like, okay, well, that was like a fluke thing, but they're having it again. It was in the teens this morning there with snow. I'm like, oh, that's too much. That's too much. So I think most places are having that. But yeah, it's just basically appropriate gear. That's the secret. That's the secret. Appropriate gear. And it's that simple, you guys. That simple. Appropriate gear to staying warm in severe weather. Appropriate gear, and then shelter. And then all the extra, like how to heat your food, your water, and ingest something nice and warm to warm up your own body, your own system. And that's as simple as that is. Now, on top of that, you can get more extravagant. You can do more things just for more comfort, for more luxury, for more wants. But to basically to stay alive and be comfortable enough, that's it. That's all you need. Um, yeah, that's it. That's it. Layer up appropriate gear, and make sure you're able to um, have some warm fluids like that. That'll help you. Fortunately, in the South, the cold doesn't last long. Yes, very true. Very true. Yep, the appropriate gear is so important. Yeah, that's what I've been learning. Like, I've been in areas where it gets cold, like the ice storms, snowstorms, but most of my time is in hotter climates. So I'm familiar with it, but I don't have those extreme weather like South Dakota would, right? Like the Antarctica, ooh, like Alaska, like different places like that. I don't have not experienced that. The only fluke time was where that extreme weather was going on last year, I think it was. And we were in Oklahoma and it got to be negative 15 wind chills. That's like the most extreme that I've experienced. Other than that, it's um, I guess the second runner up would have been Germany. And we had it like in the teens, and it was cold and it would snow where we were at and all that, but we never had negative 15 wind chill and cold like that. It was cold, don't get me wrong, it got cold, but we had awesome heaters. We had awesome heaters in the military housing, and like we were not cold inside our house. It was nice and toasty, but outside it got cold. There was one time where it iced over so good that even just standing outside and on a little bit of an incline, I mean, you would stand there and you would just go. There was no stopping it. I mean, you would just slide and slide. That was quite a scene. Like everybody was just sliding, and we were all trying to crawl our way to our houses. Let's see. But yeah, you guys, like that's what I wanted to touch on today. The severe warning, I mean severe weather, because I saw that this morning and I was shocked, like, what the hell? Texas having like in the teens and snow? What's going on here? What's going on? I'm used to it in Oklahoma. I was used to it in Kansas and like more northern states, but Texas, not very often. When we lived in Texas, we might have had like a little flurry and then it went away and like in no time. But mostly hot and humid, hot and humid. I was so sick and tired of hot and humid. And now where I'm at, it's just going to be hot, hot and steamy, or hot and dry. I don't know how, not really steamy, it's dry here. Did I ever have to go to Grafenweer? Actually, we were stationed in Grafenweer. We were stationed in Grafenweer. We had Hohenfels and Grafenweer. Yeah, that's we lived right outside of Grafenweer. That was a nice area. That was really nice. It was beautiful. We got snow one winter, so much snow. Um, if I ever find the pictures, I might share that. But we were able, with our little teeny backyard, we were able to do a very small igloo where Cora, I think I can't remember how old she was. She was in elementary school, but Cora, her dad, and myself could actually like huddle in the igloo that we made. And it took us, I think, maybe 5 hours of piling up snow and like trying to shape it into like this little dome. Well, it's bigger dome, right? It had snowed that much. And we were out there for hours in our little backyard. Oh my God. Oh, you were in Wiesbaden? Oh, nice. Well, in that area. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we had so much snow that one winter, um, that we were actually able to build a tiny igloo and that we can actually fit in there. I have a picture. I have to look for it, but I might show that maybe on another live or something if I remember. But yeah, we hours and hours. Our hands were so red and frozen. Our jeans and clothing and everything was soaking wet. I don't know how people did it way back then, but I think once you build that igloo, inside there was a little bit warmer. I guess because of not having that cold wind blow on you. But oh my gosh, yeah, we had that much snow. And I think New York, where my sister's at, over by Fort Drum, they're right now they're having a snowstorm too. So I'm not sure how many feet of snow they're gonna end up having this winter, but it's already looking, I told her, like a winter wonderland. She'll send me pictures and videos and it looks so beautiful, but I know it is cold. I know it's cold. I'm trying to sit, but like this is gonna be gone. Yeah. So I don't know. If I were to build something or um, remodel or whatever, not from scratch. I keep thinking from scratch, but it's not. Like if I remodeled a little bitty trailer, I thought about like spray foam. And then I think, okay, well, if I do spray foam and I have it on the road, will it just like crack? I don't know. That's why I guess people put just like the wool insulation for more natural, or just the fiberglass, because it's gonna be bouncing. And I wonder, but like the spray foam is supposed to be like really good and no drafts, no nothing come in there. But like that's what I would do. I would remodel my tiny, in my imagination, I'm already like trying to manifest this tiny little bitty trailer that I can pull with my van. Maybe a 13-foot, maybe like a 16-foot trailer. That's what we'll see in the future. Maybe. Yes, I do. I have flashbacks of field exercises and graph in the winter. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. I can't imagine. Oh my gosh. Where speaking of that, like it reminded me like where my ex-husband Cora's dad would have those kind of flashbacks was actually here in Fort Irwin. So I live in Barstow, and about 30-ish 40 minutes away is Fort Irwin. And for him it was more like that desert area that he had, where like it was more like the Middle East, all the mountains and the desert and all that stuff. That was his flashbacks. He's like, I hate this place. And to me it was awesome, only because I live like 2-ish 3 hours away from family. So when we were stationed in Fort Irwin, it was pretty nice for me. Of course, I didn't deploy, and I didn't have that in the back of my head with those kind of flashbacks. But like as far as the spouse, the dependents, I really enjoyed that side of it. Oh my gosh. Now for me, I only did a couple years in the army, and I got out. I had the option to get out because I got pregnant. So I was like, oh, I can't leave my baby. So I decided to get out. I don't know how some of those mamas do it. They are tougher than me, because I was like, I can't leave her. I can't leave my daughter. And then we were both dual military. So we are like, oh, no, I can't leave my daughter and deploy somewhere, or deploy every other year. Like him gone, and then the next year I'm gone. And like, I couldn't handle that personally. So I decided to get out. Yeah, you guys. So that was tough. I don't know how some of those mamas do it. I don't know. We're super emotional as a woman. We're like way more emotional. So I have no idea how the moms do it. The dads are like tough cookies and they go do what they got to do. But for a mom, like more mental, like I don't know. I don't know how some of them do it. And it is super hot in here, you guys. Oh, I'm gonna have to crack a window open again. My gosh. It is that greenhouse effect. All right. I cracked it. Get some air in here because it is hot. Whew. But anyhow, yeah, I just thought I'd touch on that topic. Plus how the trolls usually they always have something to say. And it's usually not very nice. Let's see, noodle pair. I have seen some of those channels. They'll build up a light home with a bike. Oh yeah, yeah. They pull it for the homeless. I hope someday to build a few and take it to the homeless. That's so sweet of you. You're always so sweet. But I have seen that. They attach it and somehow they make their own little like attachment to a bicycle. They ride a bicycle and then they have like the lightest, tiniest, slightest little trailer, basically just like a makeshift teardrop, a miniature teardrop, if that can even be a thing, right? Just enough to actually like lay down and be away from the elements. I thought that is so cool. I think of like a shit hit the fan scenario. I'm like, oh my God, that's way better than a tent. I can still pedal my bicycle. I can still, even if it's light enough, I can actually like drag it and pull it somewhere. And it's a better shelter than a tent material because eventually that's going to wear, that's going to tear. And to actually have like maybe not plywood, maybe plywood, I don't know, but like even like some kind of plastic roof tin thing that's super lightweight, and that would be the way to go, like emergency shelter. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how some moms did it either. I have no idea. Like they are tough. They are tough. I couldn't handle it emotionally. Mentally, I couldn't do it. So I decided to get out. Kay Kennedy. Good morning, Kathy. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure you're extremely busy. Yes, yes, with your mama. But I'm glad she has you. You taking good care of her. But good morning and welcome. Let's see. Trolls will definitely be trolling. They sure do. They used to get under my skin before, and not so much now. And now I'm like training my own brain to not take it very personal, to not like, why would you say that? Like, yeah, no shit. I'm just giving you my simple, basic thing that I did. I'm not sharing the secret magic potion to fix your miserable life. I'm just like sharing what I did and like that mentality. Now I'm just like, I have to just like sweep it, and just I'm gonna be replying, bless your heart, if I even reply. um, it's sky blue. You got out of the Navy for the same reason as you or as me, but you were in the reserves for 10 years. Yeah, one, it's, I don't know. Once you have even the knowledge of knowing that you're pregnant and like picturing that in your head, and then at the same time is where like the Iraq um, war issue crap that was going around. Like I knew I was going to be deploying. Cora's dad ended up deploying. I think Cora might have been 3 months, 6 months after she was born, and he deployed. So I knew we were just going to constantly be going and going and going. At least him and then me and then him, if not both of us were going to be gone, and I couldn't do it. So I was like, no, thank you. They gave me the option where I can get out, and I will, and I have not regretted that. I have not. Like I was there to take care of Cora, and then she ended up having some medical issues when she got a bit older. So I was like, I was extremely glad that I was able to be a stay-at-home mama, and I have never regretted that decision. But yeah, Miss Erica, you did the same thing. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. We're like, we are made to be more emotional, more nurturing, more like mothering, more. There are the oddballs that are not, that are horrible mamas, sometimes on purpose, and sometimes they're just like they have mental issues, and I think if you have mental issues, it's kind of a gray line right there, right? You know, you might know what you're doing, you might not in your head, I don't know. But for the majority of us moms, like it is too tough. I can't. My priority is my baby, not everything else. Let's see. Miss Dora. Oh, yeah. Yes, y para las personas que no tienen casa, hay que darles una cobija y un abrazo. You want to go handing out blankets and hugs, Mom? That's so sweet. Actually, if anybody wants to hand out blankets and hugs, I would, if you can afford it, I would advise sleeping bags instead of blankets. Like that. That's more for the weather, for the cold, for the wind. I would suggest a sleeping bag. Hand out sleeping bags, Mom. Let's see. Good friend, good morning para las personas. Yeah, my mom has a special space in her heart for homeless. She told me one time that she would hand out socks and shoes, and she would hand out to the homeless, like every 6 months, give them a new pair of shoes at least. Let's see, Miss Erica. The human race wouldn't survive if moms didn't care so much. Children need a lot of attention. Oh my gosh, don't they? I think off the top of my head, the like snakes. Snakes can hatch and be off on their own, and somehow they have that instinct and they're good to go. But like babies, most babies, the majority, 99% of babies need some kind of attention, for some of them for years and years and years and years, right? Even like when you're a teenager as a human, like even then you still need all kinds of attention and structure and guidance. And yeah, it takes us humans even in our 30s to get a clue, right? I'm just now figuring, kind of sort of figuring life out. And I'm in my 40s. But man, yeah, like God created us to have that more emotional, more attachment, more like love, more caring nature as a woman, for sure. Can you imagine if we didn't? We would just pop them out and just leave them and take off somewhere. Thank you. Next. Wow. Yeah, it's different. It's way different. Not that a man doesn't get attached, not that they don't have emotion or anything like that, but I'm just focusing more on like how, as a woman, how we think, how we feel. Like we are way more emotional than a man. I don't know if sometimes it might be easier for a man to take off and not see their children ever again. I'm sure they think about it from time to time, but it seems like it's easier for a man to leave than a woman to leave their children. And that's crazy to me, just to like fathom that, because the way that we think as a woman. But men don't think like that. Men think more logical, and we think more emotional, right? You worked in a children's mental health facility, and there was this cute boy who had failure to thrive from being an orphan. Oh my God, I've heard of that. He was so small but had a good heart. Oh my gosh. That what popped in my head was how they even had studies where they would do studies way back when, and they would purposely have these babies with like the no contact, no affection, no this, no that, and on purpose just to have these kind of studies. That is so cruel. But a lot of them would just die. A lot of them would die. They wouldn't grow, they wouldn't thrive, they wouldn't do anything like that, and then they would just die. It's crazy. Let's see. That's why I think that parenting should be thought about thoroughly beforehand. Not all women are motherly. That's for sure. Not all women at all. Yeah. There are the exceptions. I think most of us uh, are just doing the best that we can. They're being the best that we can, the best mamas that we can with the knowledge that we were passed down, the experience that we were passed down by our own mothers, right? Because I mean, we're not born with a manual. A lot of us are ignorant until we actually have to do it and then figure it out. And then yeah, the firstborn is the trial and error, and then it typically gets better after after the second, the third, the fourth, or whatever. I think that's why grandparents are, in a way, they're way better at raising the kids than the mamas, because they have the experience, at least to help raise the kids. And then unfortunately, a lot of sad situations where the mom can't raise them, the parents can't raise them, and so the grandparents or the aunt and the uncles take them, right? But like, once you have that experience, I tell Cora, like, this is going to be like a whole nother um experience for me, because I can be fun. I'm not going to be stressed out like I was, not sleeping. Every hour to 3 hours you would like wake up and I would be exhausted. I was so exhausted and I had no idea what to do. I just had to wing it. But yeah, oh my gosh. Let's see. Dia, I'm 65 and still trying to figure out my life. It's an ongoing struggle, isn't it? Oh my God. It really is. It really is. It's like once you think you have it kind of figured out, you learn more and you experience more. And I keep mentioning where I learned so much from YouTube, because I do. I get exposed to so many things just off YouTube. And I'm just like, okay, well, I thought I had this kind of figured out. And then I come across another video, somebody having more information, more experience, or doing something just completely different. And I'm like, I never thought of that. Like, that is awesome. I have never even thought of that. Yeah. But yeah, it is. It is crazy. It's crazy. Like, once you think, like, oh, okay, I got this. I got this. Here comes a different way of thinking, a different way of seeing things, more experiences, and like, whoa, okay, well, I didn't even know that was possible. Let's see, you're 57 and still trying to figure it out too. Yes, oh my God, I'm 42 and still trying to figure it out. And what I figured out so far is just basically live a simple a simple life, a peaceful life. Like, that's what I enjoy. I don't like to do the hustle and bustle. I don't feel like I even have the energy to like be going out and doing so much. Like, I get wore out so fast. I don't have the energy for it. Some people do. Some people do, and they're very adventurous and they like to go and take hikes and travel way more. And I don't know. Some people look at me and they're like, "Wow, you're so adventurous." And I'm like, I'm not that adventurous. Like, I'll take a trip here and there and I'll do different things and I'll try different things, but I don't think I'm that adventurous. Oh my gosh. I learned so much from the younger crew here on YouTube. I do too. What's crazy is I learned so much from my own daughter, from her experiences, and the kids now. Oh my gosh. They are with it. They are with it. I don't know what was up with like my generation, my mom's generation, the grandma's generation. We weren't exposed to all this stuff, and they catch on so quick, and they are like, oh my God, I don't even know how to word it, but They are on it. They are on it, and we were like the ignorant, the more ignorance is a bliss type of mentality, and these kids have like the whole world in their hands with their phone, and they're exposed to so much. I'm like, I don't know. Like, Cora has taught me so much. She is on it, and she has taught me so much. I learned a lot through her, and then through these younger kids here too on YouTube, I learned so much. You don't like drama either, huh? I know. Ugh. I've never really liked drama, but now I know to stay away from drama. Now I know, like, I can just keep to myself, and if I want to be social, I'll be social, but I'm more of an introvert at that too, so like I'm like I can be around people for a little while, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. Okay, bye. It was nice to see everybody. Okay, bye. And I got my social fix, and I'm good for another few days, a week, whatever. And then I want to be social again, and like in little spurts. And then some people are complete opposite, and they constantly have to have this interaction and this like going and going in their brain. To me, that's exhausting. That is so exhausting. I can't. I'm just like, give me my space. I think Cora even knows. She's like, I know, Mama, I know you need your space, but she likes to be more clingy. She likes more interaction. She's more social, and I'm not. I'm not. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's not that cold today. It's just windy here. So we're supposed to have like a whole week or two of 50s and 60s, like the highs, which is awesome because we were in the 20s and 30s and 40s the past week or two. So I'm like, I'm ready for a little bit more sunshine, a little bit more warmer weather. But yes, yes, yes. I'm still trying to figure it out. And when I figured out, there is nothing to figure out. There's just live in the present moment and enjoy your life the best that you can. Love as much as you can, enjoy as much as you can, do the best that you possibly can. That's all you can do. Like that's what I've come to realize. Like there's no magic trick here, at least for me. I never had the real aspiration to have like this top career. And I mean, as a little kid, you're taught, oh, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should be this, you should be that. So like we think about it, we're like, oh yeah, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a teacher. But like once I got older, I'm like, I don't even want to be all that. My thing was just not that I wanted to be, oh, what I want to do is I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to be a homemaker. Like that didn't even cross my mind. But once I got married and I had Cora, it's like that's all I wanted to do from then on is just stay at home and take care of the family, take care of the house, and that was it. Like that was the purpose. That was my purpose. And now I have YouTube, and now I have fun talking to you guys, but like my kid is 21 now. She's out the house, and now it's like more focused back on me. Like what do I want to do now? Like I'm trying to rediscover what my life is. Let's see. Miss Sky Blue. We didn't have access to information when we were growing up like the kids do now. Yes, for sure. I used to ask my friends for advice, but they didn't have any answers. Now you can just Google stuff. Yeah, for everything. It's just like, oh, well, Google it. That's what I tell my mom now. I don't know. YouTube it. Google it, Mom. Google it. I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna just go on there and look at the little microscope. No, is that a micro? No, magnifying glass. I was gonna say microscope. Look at the little magnifying glass. Click on that and type whatever you want, and stuff will pop up on there. Like that's how that works now. And she's in her 70s, so she's like, I don't know how to do this. So she's learning how to do different things on here. She's learned how to navigate Zillow. She's learned how to kind of navigate YouTube. And she learned how to text. She's learning how to save pictures that people text her that she could save on her phone. So it's like she's getting it. She's getting it. But yeah, way back in my high school days is when like the internet like barely kind of started. The computers were like going. Um, I remember being so excited getting my first email. Who was I emailing? Nobody. Nobody. But I thought that was so exciting. Like I had my email. Woo! I'd go to the library. I would like search online at what? Nothing. I had no idea. There was nothing to really look at. There was nobody that I would email back and forth really. I was still doing letters. I would mail letters to my friends. But wow. What, 20 years, 20 plus years, like how far it's come, right? Um yes. I feel like the spirit equipped the young ones to be able to hit the ground running. That's that's true. That's true. They can't afford to wait to get to get it when they hit their 40s, like us and the generations prior to us. Yes. Maybe there's something to that. Like these theories, right? Conspiracy theories. This generation and on, right? They have they have so much technology and access, and like at the click of a button, like at the touch of a button, that in lightning speeds, like everything's already on there. So maybe you're getting somewhere with like that comment. Like they're gonna need, they're gonna have to, and they're gonna need to know all this stuff for whatever reason, right? And we didn't. We were living more of a simple, ignorant life in a way. And these kiddos, yeah, the way that the world is going to be headed towards, they need to know information ASAP. They need to know more, way more. And I guess it's just preparing them for the future, because everything will probably be digital. Everything will be like we used to see the Terminator movies, all those different kind of cyber movies that I would watch. I still find them very interesting. Like all that, even like Back to the Future with the flying cars, the flying skateboards. Like that was just a crazy imagination, but it's here. It's here. So yeah, I don't know. Like yeah, there's something to that, where the kids, they're gonna have to know way more and way quicker than what we had to do to live their life. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know. Oh, entertainment for me back in the day was radio and TV, was going to the park. I mean, it was just basic MTV when that started coming out, the music videos. Movies, like that was entertainment for me. The young ones are more willing and out of necessity to teach themselves stuff. That's true. That is so true. Whereas the older generation need others to teach them. Yes. But like you look now, for example, like how much things cost, comparing like an actual salary or paycheck, that a husband, a man would go and work and provide for his family. They would have housing, they would have food. It might have been not extravagant, but they were able to pay for all this stuff. And now a normal job, if you're trying to support a family, like you need overtime, you need two jobs, or you need to figure out a way to make way above to be able to afford some of these prices. I think like the average even rent is like around $2,000, $1,500 to $2,500 just to pay for an apartment. Like, you need a lot of money. You can go and live in places like where I came from in Oklahoma. Um, it was averaging closer to $1,000. It had gone up because you could still, not too long before that, before COVID happened, right? You could still find $500 to $700-800 for like a older 2-bedroom place, and now it's about 1,000 and up. Like, it has gone up that dramatically, and the way the wages are, you can't afford it. Let's see. Oh, my mom was obsessed with putting emojis. Oh my gosh. But then I think, okay, even like where Cora is at, the Dallas Fort Worth area, the prices have skyrocketed there. Now the homes that you can used to get for $100,000, $200,000, now they're like $500,000, and that's like some of the cheapest, nice, nice, not crumbling down places. Here in California, you're looking close to $1 million for a regular basic couple bedroom house. And this is nothing extravagant. These are old homes for like $1 million. And if you finance that, you're looking at like 2 million by the time you're 30, 40 years down the road and you finally paid it. Let's see. I've even seen some burnt down homes that they're selling for a few $100,000. You can't live in it. You'll have to do a whole nother construction. By the time you're done paying for all that, like, I don't know. Let's see. A 1-bedroom average about 1,000 here. It's kind of what it is here, but we're like in the desert and in no man's land here. Hey, Gray Man, what is up? So, yeah, you guys, it's like the prices have gone crazy. And I normally look around the areas that I want to live, or the state that I want to live, and I look for the cities and towns and everything that has like the cheaper price of living. Because to me, I don't want to work as hard to pay for something more expensive. Like, I don't get um, the super high paying jobs anyway. So I'm like, if I'm going to be working for like barely above minimum wage, I'm not going to be struggling. I'm going to try to pay for something that is affordable for me. And what has been affordable for me is more like hacking, house hacking, apartment hacking, whatever those terms are now, where you have to kind of share the space and split the bills. That, or van life, car life, RV life. Like, those are way more affordable alternative ways of living, and I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. Of course, it's preferable to live um, more by myself versus having a roommate, but I don't want to work that hard, so I do the alternative. Let's see. There are small towns in Texas outside major cities where would you consider moving and buying house here once the baby's here? I always consider all the possibilities, so I'm not going to say no. The thing that slows me down a little bit in purchasing something closer to Texas or in Texas is that I have to figure out a way to pay for that expense, and also not work a traditional job for at least half of the year, because the way my body is, I get really bad seasonal allergies where I don't even want to get out of bed. I'm so drained, I'm exhausted, my eyes are so puffy. Everything just feels like I have the flu pretty much for about half of the year where the allergies are going. My body is really sensitive, and the areas that I have found that don't cause me that are on the West Coast. So that's a struggle. Like I've lived in Texas, and I've lived in North Carolina, I've lived in Kansas, I've lived in Oklahoma, and all those places, like from Texas on east, I get really horrible allergies. So that's why I'm like, I have that battle in my head. But I'm like, my baby and her baby are gonna be in Texas. So my alternative in my head, like how I've been kind of thinking about things, I want to be closer to them for as long as I can without having the horrible allergies. So my thought process is like, well, I can be during those seasonal allergies, I can be on the West Coast, and then the winters, I can stay for an extended amount of time in Texas or like those areas. So that's my thought process right now. Like I'm still trying to plan things out. I have a little while before the baby's born, and like kind of see how that goes. But I'm like, that's what my thinking is right now. I still have to tweak the plan and figure things out and figure out, okay, well, if I'm, call it 6 months in California, 6 months in Texas, let's just call it that. Okay, well, the 6 months that I'm in California, I have to work like nonstop, work, save up what I can. And then the other 6 months, live in my van or live in something. Maybe by then I might have like a little RV or something that I can just pull up at an RV park and live there and stay there for the 6 months and kind of visit with Cora. And then once my allergies start kicking in, head back to California. So that's what my kind of plan is right now in my head. How I'm going to tweak that or how that's going to actually work out, I don't know. I don't know until I try it. Let me see. But I have thought about purchasing like raw land somewhere and living there part of the year, because you would need an address per se, right? So I need something where eventually I'm going to get to the point where I don't want to travel, or my body won't want to travel. My body won't want to do all this moving around, and I actually want a place. And I don't know how affordable it's going to be later. So should I buy it now? Should I buy like a simple little tiny little house or something? And where am I gonna, like, all this stuff just kind of goes like eventually once I get older, like what's the plan then? So that's all the stuff that I think about. Let's see, gray man, I was just thinking about this. I'm gonna have to come out or out of retirement, work for another 5 years to be able to purchase a home, land, a home base, or just because it's more expensive. What for? Come out of retirement in what way, gray man? Because I think about all that. Like I'm still a little bit over 20 years before I can like retire, right? But maybe by then I think, okay, well, maybe they're gonna require us to be 100 years old before you can get a retirement check. Before you can get your pension. And then I'm like, oh my god, I'm like 50 plus years away from that. I'm not trying to work that hard for that long. But I'm like, I don't know. I have I guess the privilege of worrying about what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Instead of just trying to like figure survival and just working off survival mode, right? I have the luxury right now where I don't have that much stress. My bills are pretty low. I'm able to pay for things and save up little by little and do different things. But like I'm not stressed out to that point. So that's a huge plus. But I just get to thinking like, okay, well, I know I have to focus more on the now and live the moment and enjoy the moment and be present. But at the same time, my prepper mind is like, okay, well, okay, you enjoy the moment, sure, but like, what are you going to do 5 years from now? What are you going to do 10 years from now? What are you going to do 20 years from now? How's that going to look? What's that going to look like? And I like to think about stuff like that. It gets your mind going and rolling, right? Let me see. Kathy, you still do that, the snail mail? There's just something about like a handwritten note, a letter with even like the pictures, or like just any little doodle or anything attached to that. It's nice to receive that, right? You're old school. I know, I still like to write and like do to-do lists, and I still like to like, I like writing. I like writing. That's a skill now. That even like spelling, my spelling is getting horrible now because there's so many different shorter versions of words that we just like text and type now. We don't write the whole thing, and we have autocorrect, so it does it for us. So we just start typing a few letters, and then like the autocorrect does the rest of us. I mean, does the rest for us. So we don't even have to think. Oh, because everything is triple the price now, Gray Man? That's true. That's true. So have you thought like, would you like a home base, or would you like to continue being nomadic in your van, in your RV class B, your lovely class B? Would you like to have like a home base? Would you purchase just land? Would you purchase a small house? I don't know, a condo? Because there's so many different ways, right, to have a home base. Would you prefer to rent an RV spot? Give us a little insight to your brain. Like what would you do? How do you picture yourself living in the future? Ah, don't say that too loud. They might get ideas. Oh my gosh. So true, Gray Man. See, the budget that people plan now for entertainment is no longer in existence. I know. People now have to reconfigure their retirement plans. Yes, that is so true. That is true. Unless they actually had everything already paid for and set, like if they already had their home purchased, and um, they don't have a mortgage, they don't have rent, they don't have like the extras, because it keeps going up. But then of course you still have your maintenance on a home, you still have your property taxes, that just constantly goes up regardless, but it's still cheaper, right? But like the materials, the cost of materials to fix things, the home insurance, still like everything still goes up, even if you had your house paid for. Like it's all, it's gonna be house hacking for everybody pretty soon. Like we're gonna go to how us well, I can only speak for me, right? How us Latinos, I know there's other cultures that do the same, but how we house hack a ton of families living in one house. Like that's just, it's gonna go back to that. The budget. Oh yeah, I read that. I'm looking for land right now. Okay. Yeah. There's still way affordable places. It's just in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere. Now, what I have found is like, depend on the state if you want to go off grid. Like, I think Texas, for example, if you do 10 acres or less in like the middle of nowhere, then you can live off grid, but you have to have a permit for septic. Now, if it's over 10 acres in the middle of nowhere off grid in Texas, then you don't need any kind of permits for anything. Where they get you is, okay, you can buy these lots, this property, and they might be an acre or less or whatever, and you think, oh well, great, that's $1,000, that's $5,000, that's $10,000, whatever the thing is for you, right? Oh, that's affordable. Yeah, I can buy that. Well, if you don't do your research, if you don't do your homework, then you come to find out that you just kind of wasted money, and your piece of property kind of sort of just sits there. aka me. I didn't do my homework many, many years ago, but here in California. But I mean, that's anywhere. The zoning, the codes, all that, they're not going to let you pull up and live in your van, in your RV. It has to be an actual um, structure, especially for the smaller pieces of property, the plots. You have to go through the whole shebang, the whole works of the connecting to the utilities pretty much, and going to code. And you can't just purchase you a little tiny house or a shed and convert it and just plop it in there. They don't let you do that. They don't let you do that. So if you don't do your homework correctly, you're going to be stuck with property that might end up being too expensive for you to build up. That is my experience. You would still have to pay several $100,000 minimum to build up the property and to put any kind of structure on it. And I don't have the funds for that. I don't want to spend the money for that. Even if I did have it, I don't want to spend it. I don't want to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. I'm perfectly happy with a small RV, and I just want to put it on my land and live there. More primitive. Like, I'm okay with that. I enjoy it. But they don't allow you. They don't allow you to do that. And that gets on my nerves, and I kick my own butt every time I think about it. Let's see. I'm looking to purchase land and put a Airstream trailer on it. My Class B on the other side of the property, my tiny home on the other property, perhaps Airbnb. A lot of people do that, and that's a nice income that I see on YouTube a lot. Like, they have that. Even if you purchase a regular house and you're able to put like your little Airstream or a little tiny house, and you kind of rent that. I don't know how legal that is because of zoning and codes and all that, and your neighbors telling on you, right? But it's so restrictive. It's so restrictive. Like, okay, if I purchase something, I purchase even a small little piece of property, let me live however the heck I want to live. I'm not bothering you, but apparently I am, because I'm not paying all the extras that they want me to pay, right? um I don't necessarily want the traditional sticks and bricks anymore. I don't either. I don't either. Only for the fact um, that I just don't want to pay all this extra, and everything. Like you said, everything has like tripled, quadrupled from just a few years ago. It's gone up ridiculously. But I do want minimum of like an RV, because I want to be able to stand up. I don't want to be crawling on my knees and hunched over, and like, part-time living in a minivan or in a car or anything like that is, I think it's awesome. I think it's a nice experience. You get to see like how much you can actually do with so little. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But for full time, I did not. I did not enjoy it for full time for like the foreseeable rest of my life, the future, all that stuff. It's just like, I don't want to live like that per se. I need more comfort. I want to at least stand up. I don't have to have a full luxurious setup, but I want to stand up. I want to have a bit more space. I want to be able to, have normal furniture in my house. Like, I miss that. I do miss that. Let me see. Tara says, soon true or so true on property taxes. Had what I considered major increase the last 2 years, and I only have 1 acre, very simple house, not even a garage. Right? See, like the awesome part, the very first tiny house that I had, it was a 480 square foot, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. It was an actual house. It was in Oklahoma, and my property taxes, you guys know that, it was $112 a year. That was it. So I mean, you still find the tiny little areas here and there in the US that it is very affordable, but then it's in areas that not a lot of people want to live in, so that's why it's more affordable. But they're out there. But the majority of places, it is sky high. Like, I pay more for my grocery bill probably the week or the month than I did for property taxes in that place. And it was 3 city lots. So it wasn't like huge, but because the house was so small, the yard looked ginormous, but it really wasn't. It was in the actual city. It wasn't even an acre, nowhere close to an acre. But that's all I paid, like every year. That's $112, $115, whatever, in that range. That was it. It was so nice. Let's see, Gray Man, that's good information. And Sarah, it's funny how folks worry about property values, which aren't going to matter if you can't afford to stay in that house. Exactly, exactly. Like, I don't even know how much the average retirement pension is. I have no idea, but I know what people get like on Social Security, which I think it's an average of a little bit over 1,100 to $1,700, like less than $2,000. And if you have to pay for rent, you have to pay the utilities, you have a car payment, you have like the norm that people do. There's no way you can afford that. You have to go in the middle of nowhere where it's super cheap, or you have to have roommates. Like, that's the only way to afford it. Now you think about it, okay, well, I have my house paid off. Well, property taxes, for some people, like here in California, I even hear of 500 plus a month. A month. What? How in the hell? I can't afford that. Or a few thousand for the year. Like, we could break it on down, and I don't know, that is too much. That is too much. I don't know. I'm not trying to work that hard to pay for that. Yeah. So then, okay, at least 100 to 200 for home insurance, plus another 100, 200 plus for maintenance that you would have to put back every month, plus whatever your property taxes are. I don't know, we'll call it another 200. That's two, four, 600 already. That's not even including anything about your vehicle, the maintenance, the gas, your food, cell phone, utilities. It's gone. Even if you don't have to pay for a mortgage or rent, like, that's it. You're still strapped with nothing. Nothing left. Nothing left. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I think about that. Like, what is my future? What does my future look like? So for me, I still want to keep this van until I can't no more. Until the wheels fall off, and hopefully that never happens. And I want to be able to pull the tiny little trailer that I can stand up in and have my basic amenities. Like, that would be a great combo for me. Expat is an option for me. Okay. Now, I used to think about that, like, when you retire and you have your check, your pension, your social security, you move somewhere else. But I'm like, where would I want to go? I don't know. I don't know. There's so many places that look enticing, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. And I don't know if I want to do it by myself. If I had a partner, a spouse, something, like, to travel by myself like that, especially in a whole nother country, that would make me nervous. I don't know if I would want to do that by myself. Now, if I had a spouse, then we can go adventure together, and that puts me more at ease. Like, yeah, let's go do it. Let's go do it. Let's go adventure. But by myself, I don't know. I don't know that, because Maybe I don't know the area. If I'm familiar with it, then it's something different. If you know people there, if you go more regularly and you're familiar, you have friends or you even have family around there, that might be a big difference. But I don't know. I think you had mentioned like Portugal. Is that where you were thinking of? Or have you thought of other places? I don't know where I would go. Like Thailand sounds pretty cool. Even places in Europe sound pretty cool, but I don't know. Your friend in Houston, 16,000 yearly. What? Holy cow. Wow. Even to break that down per month, like the average person with basic income, basic social security, can't afford it. Can't afford it. Even if it's paid off, they just cannot afford it. That's crazy. Mm, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. That's why I'm like, I'm not gonna focus myself and my money on super expensive places. If I want to live somewhere, I'm gonna find the hack to live there for very cheap. Still enjoy the area, still enjoy the atmosphere, but on my terms. As much as my terms as I can get it, right? Let's see, that's just wrong. It's your land, you own it, the government controls is out of hand. Yep, it really is. Yeah, 16,000, right? That's insane. That's over 1,000 a month. That's what people get like barely on a retirement. Wow. Now they must have a really good job or business or something, but to afford it, my goodness. Another like house hack per se, if you want to call it that I thought about, and Cora and I like talk about it, and she's the one that actually mentioned it, was to get a small like motel business and fix it to be more of studios instead of a motel. Like transition that to be little studios because we are lacking in studios and one bedrooms. Mostly it's like 2, 3 bedrooms that all these apartments would really be renting. And a lot of us now don't need 2, 3 plus bedrooms. We want to get something affordable and we want to get less space and less to maintain, less to pay for, less to purchase to like fit in there and furnish it. And then we get to a point where like our kids move out and it's just us, 1 to 2 people. If you have a spouse with you, if you're by yourself, like we don't want to pay for the big shebang and maintain it. We want something simple, a studio, 1 bedroom, like, and there's not very many of those. So I thought about, oh, that would be a good idea to purchase like a very small little motel and convert it into like actual studios. Like, and then I'm like, ooh, do I want to even deal with that? Sometimes I'm like all these great ideas pop in your head and you're like, yeah, I can do it. And then I think, but do I want to? Do I really want to follow through and do that? I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Yeah, that's more that's more than some folks' income for sure. Okay, Panama number 1 and Portugal number 2. Okay, okay. I thought you had mentioned Portugal way back when. I had seen some video or you had mentioned on like a video or something. I don't remember, but I remember Portugal. But Panama, do you happen to have family or know people there? Or why those places? It's always curious, like why certain places. Like, I mean, we have all kinds of like different tastes and everything, right? Different likes, dislikes. Some people like it colder, some people like it warmer, some people like Chinese food, some people like Mexican food, some people like our tastes and likes and dislikes are all different, right? But It's always like interesting. I'm all about that hack too. Yeah. Yeah, like not only would like the motel turned into studios would be a great business. You can, for one, you can live there and then supervise, right? Or you can rent out the places and have somebody be your manager, and you can take off and go and enjoy and explore and come back because um, they're paying for your mortgage if you still have a mortgage. More than likely, if I did that, I would have a mortgage because I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in my pocket. So house hacking is the way to go. So that would be one thing. Like if I were to ever purchase a home or somewhere to live or anything like that, I would have to make it like a very small apartment complex, a fourplex, a motel turned into studio, something to make me money to be able to live and pay my bills that way, because I'm not wanting to do the traditional 9 to 5. Ugh, I don't like it. I sound like a spoiled first world country problems, right? First world problems, but it's true. I don't want to do that. And if I have the option, then I'm going to pick something easier, better, works smarter, not harder, right? So I think about all those. Then I'm like, where will I go? Where will I purchase that is still affordable? Well, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, South areas, you can still do that. I can live there part of the year and take off part of the year. Like that might be the option. I might look into small, nowhere Texas and purchase something there and kind of do that. I don't know. I don't know. Endless possibilities, you guys. A houseboat, live on the water. Yeah. I've seen those videos about narrow boats and they're so cool. They are so cool. But I get seasick. I can't swim. So for me that wouldn't work. Keep it on the marina. Okay, maybe that. But they're so beautiful, aren't they? It's like a extra luxurious RV that you have the option to take off and go explore and then come back. Like that's pretty cool. Mm. So yeah, those are like, I think about my future plans. What's 5 years from now gonna look like? What's 10 years from now gonna look like? I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully by then I have enough subscribers to pay for my living expenses and I don't have to do the traditional 9 to 5. And 5 to 10 years from now, I better have some kind of apartments or some kind of motel converted to studios or something. Otherwise, I'm going to be disappointed with myself. I better have something. My gosh, some way. I don't know. I all this talk. I better have something because I probably will be disappointed with myself if I don't have something. But then at the same time, I'm like, I just want to live an extremely simple life. Do I want that headache? In a way, yes. In a way, no. Oh, thanks, Tara. Yes, I can do it. Like if I put my mind to it, yes, definitely. I think we can all do it. And then the procrastination and the laziness sometimes gets to me like, I don't want to bother. But it's like the taking the first steps. That's the hardest. To actually start it. That's the hardest. Because once you're in it, there's no going back. You're in it. You gotta make it happen. You got a mortgage to pay for. You gotta do it. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I absolutely can do it. And that's actually what I want to do. Not just like for me to have a way to support myself, an easier way in a way, because it's still like it's stressful. It's a business, right? It's still gonna be, my gosh, there's a lot of motorcycles riding through here. Anyway, but I mean, it's still stressful, right? It's still a business. You still have to, um, things break down, and you have to fix stuff, and you have to worry about your tenants not paying, and having like the whole that side of a business, right? So yeah, that's another stressor. But in the long run, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. And then also, I look to the future of my kid and my grandkids. Like, I want to leave them something. I want them to not be stressed out of living paycheck to paycheck. And like, I want to leave them something. Um, no family there, but 65 to 75 degrees year round, super cheap, cheap healthcare, fresh produce, fruit. All you're missing is a hammock, gray man. A hammock with your matcha tea. That sounds like paradise to me. That sounds good. Yeah. And Sarah, being a landlord is not easy. Oh my gosh. No, I have like a teeny little bit of experience with that, because we had a house in Texas, beautiful big house, acre and a half. It was nice, big, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, garage, blah, blah, blah. So it was nice and big, but we would travel in the military because my ex-husband was still in the military. And so we purchased that house because he was saying, okay, I want to get out of the military. So let's find a place. Let's find a house. So we did. We found that. We bought it. And then he changed his mind, and he's like, no, I think I still want to continue in the Army, and just go ahead and retire, do his 20 years. So we're like, oh, um, okay, all right. So we had to figure out, okay, now we have to rent this. We have to find um, a real estate company to kind of manage. And so that helped, but they don't take care of the stuff like you would. So the property managing will charge you an average of like 10% of whatever the rent is. So you still have to pay for that, whether somebody rents it or not. The first month rent goes straight to the real estate agency, and there that month after, the 10% cut is taken, and then whatever's left, then they either send you a check or they deposit it in your account, or however you arrange it. And then on top of that, it seemed like every month, 2, 3 months, there was something broken. There was something to needed to be repaired. There was some maintenance thing. So there you go, spending another 100 or two every month on top of the 10% that they take away. And it was a mess. It was a mess. So I'm like, I have a tiny little bit of experience with being a landlord per se. And that was not such a great experience. But at the same time, it paid the mortgage. It was enough to pay the mortgage, barely. There was some years where we even had to pay an extra $50 to $100 every month to cover the mortgage. Like, it didn't even cover that after all the expenses were removed. So it was a pain in the butt. Let's see, Miss Kathy, you love to move to Oaxaca? Oh man, old Oaxaca. People are so friendly there. You would? I don't know. I thought about like, oh, I would move to Mexico. I would move to Baja. Eat all the tacos I want. Live by the beach. That would be fun. I mean, I have family there. I'm a bit familiar with the area. I haven't really been going there as often for so many years. Like the past year or two, I went over there and I visited family, but it's been years really since I've actually been there. So I'm not sure how it is really now, but like all the tacos I can eat and the beach, woo, yeah, and it's cheaper. My dollar stretches farther. Like I thought about Baja before too. Like, I might move there. Now, like, I'm just used to being here. Yes, I was a landlord for 20 years. I'm done with it. Oh my gosh, I can imagine. I can imagine. Mm. That's why I'm like, okay, having the single home, the single house, even a duplex is not enough profit for me to want to hassle and do all that. Like I have to have minimum, I would say a fourplex, but like a small apartment complex to make it worth the hassle, the profit. I do not want to do any single home. I don't want to do a duplex. I'm like cutting it with a fourplex. Like I want to have enough profit coming back to make it worth me stressing and being a landlord and like, well, I lost my job, which is all, I understand circumstances happen, but like you still have a mortgage to pay, you still have your bills to pay and to cover, and a lot of those apartments, you still have like the water, the sewer, the trash that you're still forking out every single month, whether the tenants pay you or not. Like it's still costing you. You still have your manager, you still have maintenance to do, you still have the landscaping, like everything. It's still costing you, and I can only imagine. So that's why I'm like, I needed a minimum of a certain amount of units to make it worth me even wanting to do it. But the want is still there. The want for me is still there. Let's see, Sarah. My father had a building that we lived in when you were a preteen. We had some doozies as tenants. Oh, I can imagine. At first, but before we got the good ones, that's why I purchased a small home. Okay. Yeah, like you saw your dad go through that and you're like, no, thank you. It doesn't matter which way you go. There's always struggles for sure. It's just what are you willing to deal with? What are you willing to work with? What are you willing to do, right? And then Gray Man says Mexico is an option too. Yes, you love tacos, you like Mexican food. Um, beaches. That's what I picture, Mexico and beaches, right? But I would have to live more coastal. I would have to. The weather, at least in Baja area, the weather is a lot nicer like Southern Cali. So if you like the warmer weather, that would be a place that I would recommend for you. Oh yeah, property managers are a nightmare. Oh my god. They don't care. It's just a number. It's just a number to them. Just like many different things, right? It all boils down to is just you're just another number. It is what it is. Like it's a business. Don't take it personal. It's just business. Mexico is more affordable if you're on a fixed income. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Because I think it averages right now about 20 to 1. So like 20 pesos to about a dollar. It goes up and down, right? But yeah, like it's way more affordable. Now, granted, a lot of the real estate and things have gone up in price too, quite a bit, but it's still more affordable than what it is here in the States. That's for sure. Um, Now, as far as like being there legally, and I think they require you if you want to be an expat and move over there, you have to have like a certain income, I think. There's certain requirements. So, yeah, I don't know how that would work exactly, but marry a Mexican citizen and you don't have to worry about those rules. I don't know. You can bypass some of that stuff, right? And get your dual citizenship. But yeah, Mexico is definitely more affordable than it is here, especially like San Diego, right where you're at. San Diego is pretty pricey. That's where we were last year, and I enjoy it because I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to worry about that. I was, in the van, as you guys saw. Cora was in her van, I was in my van, and we were just like caravanning together, traveling, doing our thing. But it gets exhausting after a while. It really does. Like having to constantly move and move and move and move wears me out. I want to be comfortable in my house. I want to be able to stand up and walk to the restroom, walk to my kitchen, walk to my bedroom, and not have to constantly move. I can park my car, like here in the renting a spot in the at this RV park. I can leave my car here for a whole week if I want to and not have to move it. And that saves me a ton in gas because gas is ridiculous here. It's gone down some, but it's still crazy ridiculous. So like I can just like park here and not go anywhere, and once a week, twice a week, go to town and stock up on whatever I need, right? And then come back and just relax at home. Like, you have that privilege versus living in your car, in your van, where you're constantly having to move and move and move. That wears you out. And that video I did where, oh, full-time van life sucks and all the crap that I was complaining about, people don't really talk about that. And then it got like viral and everybody was talking about it. But most of the time you see like how cool van life is, how cool the car life is, how cool RV life is. But like I mentioned, like everything has its struggles, like everything has its pros and cons. It's just what are you willing to struggle on? What's pick your poison, right? What are you willing to do and not do? So for me to save $1, I guess $100, $1,000. No, literally to save $1,000, I'm willing to live in my van every month. Oh man, that's crazy. But that's kind of what it boils down to for me. And it's not to save $1, like to save at least $1,000 a month, not having to pay the typical rent price, which here in Southern Cali you're looking at 2,000 plus, unless you're in the middle of nowhere, desert, and then it's 1,000 plus for rent for a studio for a 1 bedroom. What, like LA and San Diego and like San Francisco, the nicer, more popping town cities, you're looking at 2,500 and up. I'm like, I can't afford that. I don't even make that much a month. I don't even make that much. So how am I going to pay for that? House hacking. There's a hack for everything. There's a loophole to everything. So yeah. Anyway, I think I've been on here way too long now. It veered from my notes, my severe weather notes, just sharing, talking about the trolls, to house hacking, to Cora, to future businesses, to cold weather, to whatever you guys want to talk about. But yeah, I just thought like I try to live my life just simple, easy, KISS method, just basic to the point, more freedom, less expense. That's how I live my life. And all my videos, I typically, if I'm showing you how to, not how to do something, but sharing what I do, not really a how to, but a how I, that's my method. And back to the trolls where I was mentioning earlier, like they don't like the simple to the point explanations. Everybody just wants to have this magical pill, this fantasy world, because maybe they hate their life. I don't know. They want something else, something more eye pleasing or ear pleasing. I don't know. But I just give it to you how I would do it. And it's plain Jane, to the point, simple, boring, but it works. Tried and true, it works, and that's how I do it. Oh, what do I say? I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm everybody's coffee. Anyway, yeah, have a beautiful Sunday, everybody. That's right, Tara. Have a beautiful Sunday. And Grayman says, I don't know how these nomads that travel 3,000 miles. I don't know. That's exhausting. That is exhausting. Every time you look, um, every time you look them up, they're on a journey. You have to get burned out at some point. Exactly, exactly. Like to me, even just after sitting in like my RV for a while and relaxing during the day, I don't even want to go to the grocery store. Like I'm just in my zone and my just like relaxing, watching a movie or whatever. Like I don't want to even go anywhere. Let alone every week, every month, somebody's like traveling 1,500 miles, 3,000 miles, somewhere new, adventures, driving coast to coast. And I think a lot of those YouTubers have somebody they're traveling with. If they were by themselves, I don't think they'd be going that fast that often. They definitely have somebody they're traveling with, because physically you just can't go and go and go like that. That'll wear you out. Okay. And Gray Man says, take care, Tara. Tara says, you too, Gray Man. And Sarah, I'm hoping I'm saying this right. Miss Fuller Roller Sarah. I had fun hanging out here today. Well, thank you. I had fun with you guys too. I like when you guys are interacting with me and talking, and then just like sky's the limit on the subjects. Like I try to think of all these different topics we can talk about, and it always just goes somewhere else. Like it just goes where it goes. I just keep it organic. I don't even like to have like titles on my thing or topics to talk about, because like I go through that super fast, get to the point, and psh, okay, now let's talk, guys. What do we want to talk about today? But yeah, let's see. Another hack would be paying somebody to park on their land, plug in water, etc. Yeah, I've seen those too, where it's sometimes it's several $100s a month for you to kind of just like tie into their system. So that would be another one for sure. Does it seem like I'm freezing, guys? I don't know if it's the lighting or if I'm actually freezing. But yeah, that would be another one. If the laws weren't so restricting, um, I think a lot of us would definitely enjoy our lives more, would have less stress, because you can purchase a little piece of property and park your vehicle there, park your RV. Even if they had like a minimum of an RV, okay, you can't live in your car, you can't live in your van, but you can have a travel trailer. Well, there's some older travel trailers you can remodel them little by little and make it livable. But no, they want you to have these ginormous houses, because they even have a minimum square footage that you have to build. You can't just build you a little studio. No, it has to be a minimum square footage. And that, like, a lot of us, especially when you're getting older, we don't need that much space. We don't want that much space. But that's what it is. Basically for financing purposes, the bank, um, yeah, it's because the banking and it's all put to their system, and it works for them, but not for us. So it is what it is. But yeah, you guys, yeah, good conversation, and thank you guys for being here. And as Gray Man says, be frugal, be safe, everyone. For sure. Thank you guys so much. Bye. Have a good Sunday.